So how are all you guys doing? We can do better than that. How are you doing? Good. So I'm going to, before I start, I'd like to take a little bit of a survey. If you either have a boat or know someone who has a boat, stand up. All right? Now stay standing. Well, that's a lot of people. If you have ever been boating, stand up. I like it. Good. All right, you can sit back down. So I'm going to start with a little bit of a confession. I first of all don't have a great accent like Duncan did this morning. I also haven't authored a book, and I'm not a professional speaker, but I am really passionate about marketing. And for me, I've been working at Mercury Marine. You may wonder, who is Mercury Marine? It's basically a $2.5 billion global marine propulsion company. Basically, we make things that make boats go. But that's really only part of what we do. And you're going to hear throughout this presentation the real purpose of what's behind our everyday. So I'm going to tell you a little bit of a story about Mercury, the real life story of how the company started, the rut we got stuck in, and then the real life stories that have inspired us to be bold. As you listen, think about your story, how you got here today, and really what is needed to write the next chapter of your careers. So I'm going to start at the beginning. As Emmy said before, there's a beginning, a middle, and an end in every story. So in the beginning, Mercury started a lot like many companies, kind of by accident. It started in a small town in Wisconsin by a guy named Carl Kiekhaefer. Now, Carl was really interested in starting his own business. He wanted to make products or machines that would milk cows. Yep, milk cows. So he bought a defunct manufacturing plant, and what he found is after he bought that plant, he had a barn full of malfunctioning motors. So Carl, being an engineer and being a little short on cash, decided he'd try to fix those engines and sell them. And he did such a great job fixing them that people wanted more of them and more of them. And that's how Mercury Marine was born, making the most reliable, powerful, and fastest engines. These are some of the engines that he made, so you can tell it really was over 75 years ago that he got this started. But the most amazing thing about Carl was, even though he was an engineer, he realized that the most important thing about our products was what they could do. They could go so fast, they could win races. And in fact, they were so powerful, they could even pull an elephant on water skis. And they were so durable, they could literally run around the globe without stop. So we celebrated the things we made, but what we made wasn't that machined metal on the back of the boat. It was really the experiences that the people who bought our product were able to enjoy. And that Carl's inspiration and his vision for helping people capture those experiences is what got Mercury off and running. So like most stories, there tends to be twists and turns, and Mercury Marine had twists and turns throughout its life. So at one point, we realized that we were very caught up in focusing on what we made, not what we made possible. We're very focused on the function of it. And one of the worst things about that pure focus on what we were making was that we started to sound like every one of our competitors. And we started to look like every one of our competitors. We were lost in what I call the sea of sameness. And when you do that, you lose your heart, your soul, and your point of difference. This is what we started to look like. We talked about the machine metal on the back of the boat, the propeller and the engine. And when we did this, we really lost our heart and soul, that bold vision that had gotten Mercury out of that barn in Wisconsin around the world with water skiing elephants. We got so wrapped up in what we needed to say as a company, all the great things we were doing, that we forgot who we were talking to, and we forgot what they wanted to hear. And when you forget who you're talking to, you can't tell a great story. So the lesson I'd like to leave you with from the middle is always remember who you're talking to and connect with them. And that brings us to today, to our end. Or maybe it's just the beginning of our next chapter. In order to move to this next phase, we had to go back to our roots. We had to go back to that bold vision that Carl Kiekhaefer had in Wisconsin, that bold vision that created the energy of water skiing elephants and engines racing around the world. Life is about experiences, people, connections, and memories. It's about the look on this little girl's face when she catches her first fish. We may build engines, but what we really do is make great experiences possible. We believe that on the water is really where the stories are born. And we're only as good as the experiences that we make possible. The joy that our products create for people, and the bold stories that we get to play a part in. This is our story. So for us, this is what we're all about. We're about creating the great stories that are made out of life. The freedom you find on the water, the joy you find in connecting with people, and the special moments of tranquility. Great stories can be made under the water, seeing your little girl catch their first fish, and remembering the moment when you did it 25 years ago. Whether it's spending time with family or fishing with the sharks, Damon John, celebrity, even he loves being out on the water. Who can beat that smile, right? Sense of escape. Go boldly. It's simple, but very powerful. You know, we're here at IZEAFest, not even a full day in yet, and we've had a really great time. Last night I had a chance to go out on a fireworks cruise with a couple folks from here, and I wanted to understand if there were boaters. I now know that almost the entire room boats, but I had a couple of social media stalkers find a few pictures of some of the boaters in the room. Here's Eric Mellon. You'll hear him tomorrow. Air guitar off the dock. That's going boldly for sure. And here's CC Chapman, who you'll also hear tomorrow. You know, the expression on their faces says it all. You know, as we think about what's important for us as a brand, it's really about great stories, and those great stories are made out of life. And if you live it, the stories write themselves. and we see it as our opportunity to help those stories be written. So all of you in your bag should have gotten a hat. I see a couple people out here wearing it. And this is more than a hat. This is really a statement of bold. And what I'd like you to do is wear your hat, maybe tonight when we're out at Universal, take some pictures, post it on social media. You may recognize this guy, at least those of you who watch reruns or old enough to watch it like me. This is Isaac, otherwise known as Ted Lang from The Love Boat. And we had an opportunity a couple of weeks ago at the Toronto Boat Show to have him take his social media moment with our Go Boldly hat. So I encourage all of you, a little shameless plug, to share your bold story and your image tonight. We'd love to be friends with you, help share your stories, and have you help share ours. Just tag us at Mercury Marine, and there's a little something in it for you, a chance to win a free boating or fishing expedition, and then you too can go boldly on the water. Thank you.